And I'm not a veteran, but I spent a fair amount of time in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was a reporter during the wars. I was in Afghanistan in '02. I was in Iraq in '03, '04, '05. I skipped '06. I went back in '07, and I was also back in Afghanistan at the time. So I would spend not nearly as much time as you all there, but 9 weeks at a time on a trip, which was enough to get me sort of over the crazy newness of it, but not too long that it all became old hat to me. So at any rate, I came away with a profound respect for the skill sets that you all have, the character and the discipline. So I also came away with a real feeling of gratitude for the people who took care of me when I was over there, because they were throwing themselves on me when things were blowing up and keeping me safe. So when I got back, I said, if there's ever any way I can help out the folks who helped me, I'll do it. And so when I got to Arcadia, which is a nonprofit that is food and agriculture focused, we are based right outside of the gates of Fort Belvoir in Alexandria on a historic property called Woodlawn Pope Leahy. And once I got there, I said, if there's something that I can do for vets, I will now. Here's another thing that's important to know. The nation needs 700,000 new farmers over the next 20 years to replace the farmers who are aging out of the profession. The average age of the American farmer is now 58. Farming is not an easy work, but it is meaningful, and it's something that you can do at your home. I think a lot of people who were in the military and are now out are looking for something where they can sort of reconnect with their family and stay home a little bit more rather than deploying all over the world. So farming is great for that. But really what farming needs is people who I think you will recognize, not afraid of a challenge, not afraid of physical effort, able to plan and adapt, overcome crises, solve problems on the fly, and think long-term rather than short-term. It has been my experience that people who want to be farmers show up at our farm, often with a man bun, and by about July they crap out because they can't hack it. What we have found with our veterans is that they basically say, 100 degrees, that's fine, carrying 50 pounds, that's fine, no one's shooting at me, so we're good to go. So let me tell you about our program. The Veteran Farmer Program has 2 tracks. The first track is a paid full-time job on the farm. We have 2 fellowships. It's not paid well, but it does qualify you to pull down your GI Bill benefits if you have them left over. It's an on-the-job training program, 40 hours a week, working alongside with our incredible farmer, Catherine Collins, growing a mix of fruits and vegetables. It's like 50 different products on a 3-acre farm. What's super cool about it is that this farm was the farm that George Washington retired to after he left the Continental Army. So we are continuing a tradition of veterans working this land. So that is a full-time, from January until December job. It's mostly working on the farm, but there is some sort of classroom work. The second track is great for people who are not sure that they want to be farmers, but are interested in learning more about it, picking up some growing skills, maybe starting a homestead farm in their backyard that could one day turn into a farm. Or for instance, people who are in the culinary arts who think they want to do a farm-to-table cafe and know how to grow some stuff. We've had somebody each year in our program who does that. We have a couple of helicopter pilots this year going around somebody's, yeah, there you go. So people come from all over and and bring backgrounds to it. And some of them have very focused plans where they're going to grow pecan trees in Kentucky, and others are just trying to figure it out, and others just really want to pick up some growing skills and see if they like it. So the program that's perfect for, it's our Veteran Reserve program. It's 1 weekend a month, and then 2 weeks a year. You'll recognize the structure. And the 1 weekend a month is typically the last weekend of the month. We do intensive training on 1 weekend. And the intention here is that you can pursue your full-time job or go through your retirement or get your medical treatments and just gut it out for 1 weekend a month. And during that weekend, what you'll get is a combination of a couple of different things. Hands-on farming experience at the site of our farmer on our farm, visits to successful regional farms so that you can see all of the possibilities in agriculture, which range from growing hops and having, a nano brewery on your farm to vegetables, to raising sheep or cattle or pigs or chickens, or just doing eggs, or having a dairy, or having a dairy that makes cheese. So all kinds of things that you could do: hydroponics, aquaponics, urban farming, homestead farming. One of the guys in our program right now has some land down in Southern Virginia, and he's working on a therapeutic farm. So he's getting his growing skills with us as he builds towards having a farm for other veterans to come and learn to farm and use it for therapeutic purposes. So we have people from 4 years in to 30 years in. And this program is called the Veteran Reserve Program. So it's 1 weekend a month, and then the 2 weeks a year, we want people, if they're going to flame out, we want them to flame out with us. We want you to discover if you don't want to be a farmer working with us, rather than after you've plunked down money for a tractor and land. So we ask that you put in 2 weeks, either on our farm or some other farm. We can stagger it throughout the year, but we want you to really feel what farming is, because a lot of people have delusions of agriculture, including those kids with man buns who show up. And you think it's going to be all like harvesting squash into a basket, and it's not. It's hot and it's hard. Farming is a calling in much the same way that the work that you all have been doing is a calling. It is undercompensated, but it pays you back in different ways. And it's peaceful, and it's challenging, and it's meaningful. One of the things that made me understand how important this work is from my time in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'd come back here and I'd visit folks at Walter Reed and at Bethesda, and the signature injury is from IEDs, and often people have amputations from that. And I think there have been about 1,800 since the war started. When I went out on the streets with Arcadia, one of the things that we do is go into low-income neighborhoods that don't have grocery stores, that don't have access to healthy diets. All the food that we grow, we bring into low-income neighborhoods and we sell it at reduced rates. We accept and we double food stamps so that people can get more and better food. So when I first started with Arcadia 4 years ago, I went out into these neighborhoods in Washington, D.C., and I saw an awful lot of people missing lower limbs. And I was like, wow, there are an awful lot of war veterans here. And my staff said, nope, this is diabetes. So in the wars, we've had 1,800 people with these grievous injuries that have resulted in amputations. In the United States, there's about 70,000 amputations from diabetes every year because of the food system. We need people who are tough enough and smart enough and capable of becoming farmers in order to bring this food back to people's plates, because in 20 years we're going to be missing 700,000 farmers. It's pretty great. There's a therapeutic benefit to it, but that's really not what this is about. This is an occupational program. We want people to become farmers and add to the food supply. The therapy happens just on its own. Farming is good for anybody who sticks their hands in the dirt. There's reams of information about that. And I also want to say, if you have any physical limitations, don't discount farming as a possibility. Farming is one of the most dangerous occupations, and there is an organization called Agribility that exists solely for farmers to help them adapt what they need to adapt physically in order to continue to have their farms. So there are ways that we can work around it, and if you have some physical restrictions, talk about it. Don't think that this is not for you, because there's lots of different ways to farm, and it starts with learning how to grow a seed with us. The process is pretty simple. We have an online application. It's a Google form. Just fill it out and send it in, and by early December we'll let you know if you're in. You're gonna get in. And farms are small businesses, and so one of the things that we do is we bring in the world's greatest farm business trainer you will ever meet. Her name is Poppy Davis, and 4 times a year she comes and she does intensive business classes that will take you from creating a business plan and figuring out what kind of corporation you want to have, and figuring out insurance and land issues, and ending up with a workable business plan for those who really want to do this by the end of the season. So.